For over half a century, this watchmaker stood as a pillar of American engineering. They timed the trains that connected the country and built the precise instruments that armed the United States military through 2 world wars. They pushed the boundaries of technology by inventing the world's first electric watch in 1957, eventually putting it on the wrist of Elvis Presley. Today, the brand appears on screens across the globe, marketed as a symbol of mid-century Americana and a staple within Hollywood production design. Yet the company celebrated as an all-American icon hasn't manufactured a single timepiece in the United States since 1969. To see how this happened, we have to look back at the company's timeline to determine if Hamilton remains a genuine American icon or a Swiss corporation in an American costume. Hamilton formed in Lancaster, Pennsylvania in 1892. At the time, the rapid expansion of railroads created a deadly problem. If 2 conductors had watches that disagreed by even a few minutes, trains running on the same track could and did collide. The railroads imposed strict standards for synchronization. Hamilton met those requirements so reliably that their pocket watches became mandatory safety equipment. The company earned a title it wore proudly, the Watch of Railroad Accuracy. Decades later, during the Second World War, Hamilton stopped selling to the public entirely. They dedicated their entire Lancaster factory to mass-producing rugged wristwatches for the armed forces, delivering over 1 million units in a few short years. Beyond standard field watches, they built precision marine chronometers. These highly accurate instruments were critical for the Navy, allowing ships to navigate the oceans reliably under pressure. During its first 50 years, Hamilton built the essential tools that kept a rapidly growing nation moving safely and fighting effectively. After the war, American culture shifted towards space-age optimism. Hamilton pivoted from its military production lines to design something entirely focused on the future. In 1957, they unveiled the Ventura. Industrial designer Richard Arbib ignored traditional watchmaking shapes, creating a bold, asymmetric shield case with fine radiating lines across the dial. The design reached mass cultural status in 1961, when Elvis Presley decided to wear a Ventura on screen in the film Blue Hawaii. That specific placement began a relationship with Hollywood that continues decades later, appearing in everything from the Men in Black series to Tenet and Interstellar, earning the company a reputation as a go-to source for cinematic timepieces. The Ventura stood as the peak of American industrial confidence, a technologically ambitious, unmistakable design that captured global attention. Because of its futuristic reputation, many people assumed the 1957 Ventura was a quartz watch. It absolutely was not. This animation shows how traditional watches operate. On the left, a mechanical watch relies on a wound mainspring to physically push a balance wheel, which swings back and forth to keep time. The electric Ventura removed that mainspring entirely. Instead, a tiny battery was wired to an electromagnetic coil. That coil delivered a perfectly timed push to a traditional mechanical balance wheel. As the wheel swung, it closed a circuit, effectively acting as its own switch to trigger the next electrical pulse. It was a brilliant concept, but the execution had a fatal flaw. The tiny physical electrical contacts required to open and close this circuit were highly delicate, making the movement notoriously unreliable. The electric movement was a bridge technology. It served as a halfway point between the mechanical past and an electronic future, leaving Hamilton vulnerable to the incoming wave of true electronic timekeeping. That true revolution arrived in 1969 from Japan with the release of the Seiko Quartz Astron. Quartz technology eliminated the complex mechanical balance wheel entirely. It used a battery to send current through a rapidly vibrating crystal, keeping time with far greater accuracy and reliability than the Ventura's hybrid system. The rise of quartz devastated the traditional watch market. Unable to compete with the cheaper, highly accurate technology, Hamilton permanently closed its factory in Lancaster, Pennsylvania in 1969. The manufacturer that timed the American railroads and armed the military ended its domestic production entirely, moving its operations to Switzerland to avoid bankruptcy. Today, Hamilton survives as a fully integrated subsidiary of the world's largest watch conglomerate, the Swiss-based Swatch Group. By every strict manufacturing metric, Hamilton is now Swiss. The headquarters, the corporate ownership, and the mechanical movements inside the watches all originate in Switzerland. Yet they are the only brand within the Swatch Group whose entire catalog relies on genuine mid-century American history. From their modern military field watches to the ongoing reissues of the Ventura, the designs are drawn directly from their Lancaster archives. So, did Hamilton cease to exist the day the Pennsylvania factory closed? Or is the brand a survivor that traded its manufacturing passport to protect its soul? They stand today as a historical paradox, an authentic American legacy kept alive exclusively by Swiss hands.